Fuel What Matters podcast focuses on what fuels you. From products to entrepreneurship to living a healthy lifestyle, we have you covered.
Hey everyone, welcome to Team XMD's podcast. I'm Jason St Clair, one of the owners here at Xendurance. Today I have special guest, U.S. Olympic weightlifter, Mattie Rogers. Hey Mattie, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So everyone that's listening, I have Mattie Rogers here. I made an intro just a few moments ago. Wanted to kind of just let you guys know how we met. A lot of things tied us together, but as my older life as an agent started several years ago in baseball, I started working with some CrossFit athletes and just trying to do endorsements for them as the social media presence started to expand. And I had one athlete I was working with in particular, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, and she followed Mattie Rogers on social. And, you know, this young, pretty girl getting really good at weightlifting. She's so strong. And Camille's like, I love following this girl. She inspires me. Can I reach out to her and ask her if you can help her with some endorsements? And I laughed and I was like, absolutely. It's been a pleasure ever since really working with you, Mattie, on the endorsement side, but also learning about you as a person. And it's just been incredible to watch your journey. So again, thanks for joining me. Where are you at in the world today?
Today I'm actually at home, which is nice because I feel like I've kind of been all over lately anyway. So I'm home, regular like training schedule and everything right now.
So you just returned back from Rome, Italy, right?
Mm-hmm.
How was that experience?
It was interesting. I mean, we went there with a little bit of a different goal than normal, which was to first and foremost make weight, which normally, like for me, it's never really an issue. So that was like the main focus, and then whatever happened on stage was whatever. Like wasn't super important there. We would have loved to have like a great day because that's always just fun and helpful, but we ended up pulling out of that one because I got the flu the day before. So we were like, why push it if it doesn't really matter anyway? So we got the weigh-in done, checked that off, and then pretty much came home the next day and got back to work.
So it sounded like a lot of you guys got sick over there. Is that right? Your team?
Yes. So I think, well, not just our team, kind of our entire hotel, which had a bunch of other countries. And it started with like one person, and as the week went on, more and more people started getting sick. But since I was in a heavier weight class, I went on the very last day of competition. So like most of the other people would compete and then start feeling a little bit sick the next day, or like a lot of people would go into the city to go kind of do like the tourist thing for a few days, and that's when they got sick. But since I was the absolute last day, it hit me like right before I competed.
I got to ask the question, was that scary at all, knowing that this coronavirus is becoming this huge thing right now?
Yes.
Did that cross your mind?
Yes, but I was mostly scared because I didn't want to get stuck in some random country. Like if they caught me like in an airport on the way home.
Right.
I wasn't necessarily scared of getting coronavirus because I'm healthy. I have a healthy immune system. I would most likely be just fine. But it was the fact of like, is someone in the airport going to like tackle me and put me in some quarantine room for the next 2 weeks? So I tried
Right.
really hard to like not breathe, not cough, not sneeze like the whole way home. And then when I got home, I was like,
Oh man, I could only imagine. So right now, you're living your life. You're going to school. You're lifting weights and trying to get to the Olympics. Let's go back. Where this all started for you. You said you're in Orlando. That's where you reside. Where were you born and raised?
I was born and raised in Apopka, Florida, which is probably 30 minutes from where I am now. So I'm still pretty close to home, but I'm more towards like the big city area rather than Apopka, which is like a super tiny little town.
Got it. Now, you also were very highly competitive in gymnastics and cheerleading. Is that right?
Yep.
Talk us through that. So, and just from my standpoint, you guys, Maddie's probably one of the most athletic people I've ever met and seen. But if you guys ever seen her do some gymnastics and some of her cheerleading stunts, it's pretty impressive. But Mattie, talk about us, like, what age did you start doing gymnastics and or cheerleading?
So I'm the middle child. So I think my
Mhm.
mom put my sister into gymnastics from a young age, and then I was just kind of like there. Like I was there because my sister was there. And so my mom started me in like those little mommy and me classes when I was like 2 years old. Um, and I think out of all three of us siblings, I'm the only one that would actually like pay attention. And my brother and sister would just kind of go like run on the trampoline or jump in the foam pit. So I obviously don't remember, but I think from about 2 on, I was like balls deep in gymnastics, like 5 days a week. And I know by like elementary school, I think I was training close to 30 hours a week,
Wow.
which is like for gymnasts that's pretty standard, but for like any other sport that seems like excessive. But like 5-hour training days is just the norm for gymnastics.
Absolutely. So is that what led into cheerleading, competitive cheerleading?
Yeah, so I was really tall. I'm 5'7" now, but I was like
Mhm.
5'2", 5'3" in gymnastics, and they're like, "Nah, you're kinda tall, like, maybe you should find another sport." Um, so I ended up quitting when I was 13, and then from there, kinda dabbled in school sports for the first time because 'cause I'd never had, like, the time allowance for that,
Mhm.
and then probably within a year started competitive cheerleading.
And how long did you competitive cheerleading?
I think 5-ish years, 4 or 5 years.
Now, is that something you just got burned out on, or you felt just
So for competitive cheerleading, there's an age limit. So like there's um up until you're 18, I believe it was, you can compete in what's called all-star cheerleading. And then after that, you kind of have to go the college route, or they're called international teams, which are like the older teams, but those are kind of hard to find. And I know my gym didn't have that option. So once I turned 18 and I did my last competitive season, I was more into coaching cheerleading at that point.
mhm.
And I had also started dabbling in CrossFit when I was, I think, like 17, 18, like right around the time where I was finishing my career in cheerleading. I had already started like working into CrossFit and weightlifting.
So that's where I first heard your name was in CrossFit, and you and I talk about this every once in a while. I was like, man, if you did CrossFit, how you'd crush it, and you do so well just based on your athletic abilities. But you found a love for weightlifting, and was that sparked from CrossFit?
I think so because my cheerleading coach was an avid CrossFitter, so all of our conditioning that we would do at the end of practices was very much like CrossFit. And so he was actually the first person to take me into the gym. He's like, "Here, like, come with me. Just try this. See if you like it. I'll pay for it. Whatever. Just see how you like it because I think you'd be great at it." And so that's where I met my first coach for weightlifting as well. And I honestly kind of hated any CrossFit workouts with weightlifting in them because I was just like really, really bad at anything strength related at first. But then I kind of learned more about lifting and more about the technical things. And I think that's really what drew me into that.
So did you ever do any CrossFit competitions?
I did. I competed. I think I
And
did
how'd
water
you do?
polo. Oh, I mean, I did some like local level ones that were fun. I mean, I wanted to die every single time, but I think that's normal. I did Wadapalooza on a team, and I think we won that one. I did the before it was called CrossFit Kids or whatever that's called now. It
Mhm.
was called the Youth Gauntlet. Uh,
Yeah.
and I competed in that, and I won, which was surprising to say the least. Um, but I didn't really do a whole lot of competitions.
So I see the common denominator here that you're highly competitive
Yeah.
and you dabbled in CrossFit, and you just said you weren't very good at some of the strength portion stuff. So was that like something that became a focus, was trying to become, stronger in those Olympic type lifts?
Um, Honestly, I don't know because I think I just liked the lifting because it was so technically focused, and like with gymnastics you spend hours every day trying to perfect like one tiny little thing, and if you're not good enough at that one thing, like you're not going to move up to the next level. And I think just having that kind of ingrained in me made lifting more fun because I could come in and I'm doing the exact same thing every single day, but I'm trying to like pinpoint one tiny little thing and fix that. And then once that's fixed, there's like a million other things to go work on.
No, absolutely. And at what moment did you know, like, hey, I'm actually really good at this and I could take this to the next level?
I went to my first national meet ever, which was junior nationals in 2014. And I saw a Team USA singlet for the first time there. And I mean, I was very new at that point. I didn't know that it was actually an Olympic sport because I wasn't, the only thing that I knew about the Olympics was that gymnastics was in it before. And I was like, I'm going to go to the Olympics for gymnastics. And then once that was
Right.
over, I kind of didn't really know really. So I saw a Team USA singlet and I told my coach, I was like, how do I get that? I want that singlet. I want to wear that. He was like, well, you have to make a team. And I was like, oh, well, how do we do that? And I did like okay at that meet. And then we saw an opportunity to drop a weight class. And if I like dropped a weight class, PR'd my total, and flew across the country, I had an opportunity to make my first international team. And I did all that like a few weeks after that first meet, I think. Made my first junior international team. And then from there, it was kind of like a whirlwind. Like that was 2014. And I feel like by 2015, 2016, it was just like more and more international teams, more competing, more just kind of growing into the sport.
Yeah. And actually, so maybe you can break this down for us. The sport of, you didn't even know it was an Olympic sport, but I feel like some of the rules for qualification has become a little more confusing from the outside perspective.
Mhm.
Would you be able to maybe dumb that down or explain to us, what the rules are now for an American to make the Olympic team?
Yeah. So they pretty much change every quad because there's always like a reevaluation of weight classes, procedures, all that. And so right now is very different from trying to make the last Olympics, like a complete 180 difference. And they actually implemented all these changes 2 years into this quad. So in 2018, they changed all the weight classes, all the rules, all the procedures, and basically they told us all those changes, and then a few months later was the first qualification event. So we really didn't have a whole lot of time to figure things out. But basically there's an 18-month period where you have to go to 6 international meets, and there's varying levels. So like a world championships is a gold level. And then like a Pan Am's is also gold, but then there's smaller ones like this Rome one that I just went to was a silver, and then it goes down to a bronze, and they each have a different um, point system. So say I got a total at a bronze event and I got a total at a gold event and they're the exact same total, the gold event would have more weight than the bronze. Um, and so that
Got
all
it.
kind of goes in and they take an average of your scores basically from all the events during that period. And then they rank you with that. And so it's not even based on total. It's not you hit this total, which is more than this person, you get to go. It's the average of everything at these different qualification events. Um, and that's just one part. And so then that average ranks you. And if you're in the top 8 in the world in your Olympic class, which is the other tricky part, then you're technically eligible. And then from there, it goes to the country and there's the country's own ranking procedures. So
Got it.
it's very confusing, and it's made more confusing because there's only 7 Olympic classes, but there's 10 weight classes. So some, including mine, are just not contested in the Olympics. So that's where it gets really confusing from the outside because it's all formulas and math and numbers, and it's not like straightforward, you lifted this much and you can go. Like it's very confusing.
That is so confusing, but thank you for breaking that down.
Yeah.
Um, so specifically on weight classes, there's recent news that you're going to move up to 87
Mhm.
to qualify. So what does that change for you in terms of your training, maybe diet, um, get into that class?
I mean, it's been rough. We didn't really know if it was possible until I did it in Rome because historically, like I've had a really hard time even just filling out my weight class. So I actually just filled out the 71 class for the first time at Worlds, meaning like I kind of had to watch what I eat and I didn't like have to bulk up to make weight. And then after that, we decided we're just going to eat as much as I can, do as much training volume as I can, and just get as big as I can up until this Rome meet to see if I can do it. Um, so I've been eating, I mean, I don't even know, like quadruple what I was before. My squats have been like the thing that's changed in my training the most because we've added a lot of squat volume just to try and build some more mass on my bottom half. I've been doing a ton of bodybuilding just to try and just pack on whatever muscle I can on top of eating like 4,500 to 5,000 calories a day.
Wow. Wow, that's a lot. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
it's hard sometimes.
Although it sounds like fun, that's got to be difficult. So what does a typical training cycle look like for you today? You just mentioned bodybuilding. So what would a typical week look like for training for you?
So normally I'll do 3 two-a-day sessions on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then the other days are just single sessions with Thursday and Sunday as rest days, which I had never taken that many rest days in a week before until I started with my new coach, Amy. And it was a hard thing to like be okay with. But after a few weeks of her training program, I was like, okay, I really I need these extra days. Um, we do we do basically everything every session. There's some sort of technical snatch, clean and jerk, pressing, pulling, squatting. I feel like it's just a lot of everything right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a specific plan? Obviously, you're training a lot. You're doing a ton of different things that you have volume wise too, bodybuilding. But is there a specific plan for Mattie Rogers in this year of 2020 to get to the Olympics, or a strategy?
Um, Strategy right now is still more body weight focused. We want to get to a place where I'm not constantly trying to gain so that my body can really adjust because having an extra few kilos, never mind an extra like 10 kilos, makes a huge difference in how the lifts move and feel. So we're trying to get to a spot where I can just kind of chill more or less. And then training won't really change that much. It's just continue to build and push and try and get as strong as I can, especially over these next few months, which are the last months of the qualifications. And then after that, it's more focus on staying healthy, assuming that I made a team, and continue to just build and grow from there.
Absolutely. So you've accomplished so much in your career so far in a small window of time. You're actually one female that's medaled 3 consecutive times at Worlds. Talk us through that and how that's made you feel as an athlete in such a little amount of time of what you've accomplished by doing that.
Well, I feel like that this sport, just in the time that I've been in it, has changed so much. So, like, when I first started, I remember going to my first senior worlds and I was in the B session and I was like, oh, one day I just want to make the A session. That would be the coolest thing. Because we only had maybe one or two athletes in the A session. And then fast forward to like last year, we have two Americans on the podium at the same time. We have like our women's team. If any one of our women were to have a bad day or get hurt or just not have an ideal competition, there's someone right behind them ready to step in and do just as well, if not better, which is insane to think about because we've never had that much depth in all the weight classes before. So it's like it's it's crazy to think about because I probably would have never thought that I could medal at a worlds, never mind 3 worlds a few years ago, but that's kind of like the norm now for our women anyway.
Got it. So to go back really quick, you mentioned, when you're little, you wanted to be a gymnast and go to the Olympics, correct?
Yeah.
And now it's still possible. You just missed 2016 Rio, but what would it mean to you to make it to the Olympics this year in 2020?
I feel like it would almost be like redemption, because I was so close the last Olympics, and I mean, I put everything into it because I was so late to the game the last Olympics. And then for this entire quad, I was like, okay, I just have to kind of stay on top, stay in the top 3, and I'll be fine. And then all the weight classes changed. I got injured halfway through. Like so many things happened to where there were a few times I was like, I don't think this is realistic anymore. And so the fact that we're here and it is a very real possibility is still kind of hard to grasp. But I feel like missing out on 2016 kind of just made me like angry and bitter and like basically pushed me through this whole quad through all the shit that's happened.
I love it. I love it. Wanted you just talked about, injuries. This is something that I love to talk to athletes about, just because in my former career, that's what ended it, was injuries. And it's going to happen, right? We're going to get hurt, we're going to get injured. But how does Mattie Rogers deal with injuries, given that you have to create so much volume to into your training to be able to be the best that you can? But when you have an injury, sometimes that can stop us, right? So how do you deal with that mentally, or are there any things that you do mentally to help yourself get through that?
I mean, it's hard because when you're lifting and training every single day, if something hurts, you're like, is this just an ache that's going to go away tomorrow, or like is this an actual injury? And like every time there's some sort of pain, there's like a panic, like is this the one that takes me out for a few months? And I was so lucky to never have a real injury until 2018. So that was the first time I kind of had to figure out like what to do if I can't lift. So for me, I spent a ton of time just basically doing everything that I can and strengthening all the little things around what the injury was. So if obviously I couldn't lift, I couldn't even bend over to grab a bar. So I just spent hours doing rehab, accessory, everything that I could so that as soon as that pain was gone and I was able to train, I could get back to it and everything else was just ready to go. And I mean, mentally, obviously, it's hard. And I remember I have like a PVC pipe that I keep in my room, and I would do some really slow mo snatches and clean and jerks before bed every day because I couldn't do it with a bar. And that was like the only thing that kept me going. So it's like maybe if I just keep doing this, that when I get back to the bar, like it won't be so hard. But I mean, it's just hard to deal with in general. There's no like secret to make it any easier. It sucks and it's going to suck, but you just have to get through that time to where you can train normally.
Right. And some of the controllables that we do have as athletes is being, have preventative measures, right? So recovery is a big thing these days. So what do you do for yourself to help yourself recover?
I definitely eat a lot, obviously. I think eating and sleeping are the most important
Yep.
things that you could do. I do ice baths probably once or twice a week. I'll do hot baths, I'll do contrast if I can. I don't really do a whole lot of fancy things because I just feel like eating
Like,
and
do you like a roller or stimulation, or like a gun? Those muscle guns are out these days. Anything like that?
I mean, I have them. I don't use them regularly. Those are like my I feel like I'm dying today. Like, what can I do to get me through this training session type things? But like eat, sleep, massage. I do get massages every week. I think
Mhm.
that was like a game changer for me. Um, Other than that, I don't really do a whole lot of fancy things.
There's a couple products that I've had some fans had questions about that you typically use. One is the muscle stimulator. Can you tell us about that and how you use it?
The Hypervolt?
The Power Dot?
Oh, the Power Dot.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, I do. I use the Power Dot. I like to use it a lot on flights. So whether it's a long one or a short one, I like to have it on my legs, and sometimes I'll even do my back because my back is like my trouble spot for me.
yeah.
So if there's a day where I'm sitting a lot, um, or I'm just feeling kind of like stiff, I'll throw it on my back and do a cycle of that. I've done it a lot on my hamstrings because I've had some hamstring issues as well. And it's just something that I do usually like before my heavier days, like night before either a competition or big training. I'll make sure I hit all the spots that I need.
Awesome. And you just mentioned Hypervolt. Is that something else that you use too? I have one. I use it every day. In fact, I'm so old, I feel like that I don't even warm up anymore to work out. I just use that thing.
Yeah, I definitely use it. I try and like hoard it. Like I won't bring it to the gym. So I'll do it at home, either before I go or like at night when I'm sitting on the couch and my legs are like dying. I'll just sit with it on my legs for like 20 minutes.
No, I love it. So, I mean, I know you, Maddie, but a lot of people are listening. That the reason I asked you about that question of recovery, I know you're going to school right now, right?
Mhm.
What are you going to school for?
Sport and exercise science.
Yeah, so you're truly learning about the body and the importance of therapy for it, and so that's why I asked that question because I know you in particular, uh, you know, spend time on that. So what is next question? What does your diet look like now that you're in a weight class? You said you eat a lot, you consume a lot of calories, but what types of foods are you eating? Is it do you by portion size? Do you weigh your food? Do you a certain amount of meals per day? What does that look like for you?
So I work with and have worked with for, I mean, basically my whole lifting career, RP Strength. Um, and they have their template for me. I do one-on-one, so they'll anytime that I need adjustments or anything like that, they'll go in and make those adjustments. And it's basically laid out meal by meal, and it tells me exactly how much to eat, when to eat. I drink a lot of my calories, so like my intra-workout shakes make up a large portion because I'll like quadruple them. And then basically on top of that, I add whatever I can. So if I eat a meal and I don't feel like I'm going to throw up, I'll add on top of that. Or like I'll switch out. I used to have, I mean, I'm used to eating so clean because I've been an athlete forever.
Mhm.
So it would be like rice, chicken, vegetable every meal, and I'd be totally fine with that. But I've tried to switch things out for like pasta, or I'll eat like bagels, or I eat ice cream at the end of the night now. I drink like a 2,000 calorie mass gainer shake after training. So it's basically just taking everything that I was doing before and then adding whatever I can on top of it.
Awesome. And now you're part of Xendurance as well. I believe supplementation is part of recovery. What are some of the products that you take, and what are your favorites and why?
So the intra workout stuff that I just mentioned, I'd use the Fuel 5 or the Fuel 5 Plus, depending on like the which session. Usually use the Fuel 5 Plus in the morning, and then regular Fuel 5 in the afternoon. And then I use the chocolate protein the most. And that's every single training session. I have both of those things, and then creatine as well in that. I take Immune Boost every single day, Joint 4 every single day, Omegas every day. Um, I think I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, the Hydro, I use that. I mean, I use everything pretty much every day.
And extreme endurance is the secret, but we don't have to talk about that. We can people know that how that works.
Yes.
But okay, you mentioned the Fuel 5 and Fuel 5 Plus. What's the difference of you choosing which one to use? Because one has caffeine, one doesn't.
hmm So I use Fuel 5 Plus in the morning, usually because I don't have a second like caffeinated drink. Because I'll usually wake up, and I live pretty far from my gym. So it's wake up, make my shakes and go, and then I'll eat in the car. So I kind of use the Fuel 5 Plus as my coffee as well. And because I literally do like 7 scoops of it, so I get a good amount of caffeine. And then the afternoon, I'll usually have some sort of like regular caffeine drink before I start training. So I don't want to have any extra caffeine on top of that. So I just use the regular Fuel 5.
So if you had to pick one product that was your favorite, you can only have one. Which one would you pick? Have
I mean, I feel like I couldn't live without the Fuel 5, but also I don't think I could live without the Joint 4 either, because I use that one religiously.
that one? That's a great product. That's probably one of the most underrated products too that we have, which was actually one of the two products that was founded. in this company. Our founder founded, for you guys listening, the Joint 4 and our Immune Boost. So those are absolute staples of the company, and just a great overall product. Mattie, if you were to recommend any products to, like, say your mom, which products would you recommend and why? Why
Um,
is supplementation important?
I'm pretty sure I've already recommended that she use the Immune Boost just because it's a really good, well-rounded multivitamin. And then I've also already recommended to her to use the Joint 4, just because she has like arthritis and joint issues, and I feel like that could really help because I've seen a huge difference in just my own joints with that. I think that's really important.
Awesome. So I had some questions that we got from some fans, which I thought was funny because back in the day, obviously we were trying to start growing your social media, and you had one instance where you dropped a barbell and went through the window. Walk us through that, and the best part about it is it ended up on ESPN. So I just thought that was funny. That do you get a lot of hype from that still?
I get a lot of questions about it, I guess. I mean, I don't think I'll ever live that one down. I didn't think it was that funny when it happened. Like, I had to clean up the glass. Like, it was not a great experience for me, and I did not think it was that funny, but apparently the internet thought that was just the funniest thing. So I'll still, like, probably weekly get people that are like, "Ha, remember when you broke a window?" It's like, "Yeah, of
what
course."
what lift were you doing when you were doing that?
I was doing a snatch off the blocks, and I missed it,
Yeah.
and it just hit, like, just at the right angle of the block that it made it, like, shoot straight out forward into it was like a glass door. It wasn't even a window. It was, like, the whole front glass of the building.
That was the thing. It just like took off, and I think what was most funny is that your expression was like you instantly just try to take after and try to get it, but you didn't make it in time.
I was literally, like,
Uh,
4 feet from the door, so there's no saving that.
so that was one thing that kind of just you know I don't even know what year it was. I'm so horrible with years, but kind of really catapulted the social media following for you. Obviously, it was growing at a rapid rate already. But what's the use of social media for you today? You post a lot of videos of your weightlifting. Talk me through your psyche on social media.
So I don't love social media, if I'm honest. It's a great tool to spread any kind of knowledge, whether it's accurate or not. It's a good way to reach people and like share your passions, and that's great. And I love that. And I love that I can. I mean, I use it to make a living right now. Like, that's not something that I would have ever thought was possible. But it's also just as easy for people to share hate and just be mean people. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know a better way to say it. Like, it's so easy for someone to look at someone else and just basically just trash them when they have no idea what's going on with them or who they even are, which is the part that I don't like because I've seen a lot of that with myself and with others
yeah,
that just mean assumptions. They're not even true things being said. And there's no way that you can really control that. And so what I do is, like, if I see something that I don't like, I just I block everyone associated with that, anyone that liked it, commented, and then so I can kind of filter what like pops up on my social media. So it's never anything that's gonna like ruin my mood for that day.
yeah. No, and I appreciate you saying that because that's something that I've seen across the board with some other clients too. There's just always those, we call it social media trolls that just want to go on there and make bad comments and things that aren't true, and it just really can ruin your day. And I truly think it's not even about you personally. They just think about that person's unhappy with their life and they just want to make you miserable too. Um, what advice would you give someone that may be dealing with that out there with social media? Um, what would you tell them to do?
Just literally just block anything that doesn't make you feel good. Like, if like, I know, like, the explore page, I don't ever even go on that tab because it'll just show me things that aren't really tailored to what I want to see, and there's
Mhm.
always that chance that there's going to be something mean. And then if you are like tagged in something or someone brings something to your attention that upsets you in any way, like why not block it? Why would you want to see that in your day? So I just think that's like a really good way to kind of filter out any negativity so you can have what you see on your social media be just helpful and positive.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I love about your social media is that I know, once the first time I met you, maybe the first couple of times, you just came off shy, but on social media, it's like, this is who Mattie really is. She's fun and she's witty. You show the things that you love, which I want to talk about next. What are some of the things that Mattie Rogers loves? I know music is a passion of yours, especially that you share that with you and your fiance, Sean. But talk to us about music and what that does for you and how that fuels you.
Well, I grew up a band geek, so I think I
Were you
think
really?
I
I
was.
didn't know that.
Oh,
I
I
didn't even know
swear.
that.
I was in band. I played the
What'd you play? What instrument? I need
trombone.
pictures.
I don't think
Yes,
there's no pictures like that.
there has to be.
I found literally one picture that was like from some newspaper article, and that's the only one that exists.
Mattie Rogers played the trombone.
I do.
This
Well,
is awesome.
I did. And then I had to play the baritone in marching band in high school because the trombone is like not pretty enough, I guess. I don't know. So
So
I
you're a
played.
band geek. I love it.
Yes, and that was my original career path in my head. After the whole gymnastics, step 2 was like, "All right, well, let's be a famous musician and let's go to, like, Juilliard," and well, I wanted to go into the Air Force and play in the jazz band that they have, the US Airmen of Note. That was, like, ultimate, like, dream for a little bit. But then that ended.
Did you play any other instruments?
Um, no. I mean,
Or can you?
no. I mean, I tried to play, like, piano, guitar, but I just was not very good. I keep telling Sean that we need to get a bigger house so I can get a drum set because I really wanna learn how to play the drums, but I can't I can't do that.
I feel like that would help get a lot of just aggression too, just banging on those drums. That'd be fun.
Maybe I
Um,
could be in a band. That'd be cool.
yeah, I was talking about this yesterday with someone that their kids they play the guitar and they go into guitar lessons, and I was always that person that loved guitar, and I tried in pro ball to start learning, and like my brain just couldn't tell my fingers what to do. Is the weirdest thing. It's like I feel like I'm a pretty coordinated person, but I just couldn't do it.
No,
So
that's exactly what happened to me. 'Cause my sister took guitar lessons and I took trombone lessons, and I would try so hard to, like, play anything on the guitar, and I just, like, couldn't. Like, it was terrible.
which is pretty impressive because I love watching Sean too, your fiance, play the guitar. He's very talented, and
Yeah.
he DJs, right?
Yes, he's very good at guitar and anything musical he could do. I'm
Yeah.
sure if he wanted to pick up one of my trombones and play it, he probably could.
So you guys go to a lot of like concerts-ish, right? I
Mhm.
want to feel like a lot of them are like EDM type. Is that your favorite type of genre?
I mean, I kinda go back and forth, like, it depends. We did actually meet for the first time at an EDM show, and that's how this whole relationship was born. Um, but I mean, we both enjoy EDM, obviously, we both really like hardcore, and those shows are a lot of fun to go to. But I mean, we kinda like everything more or less, aside from country.
Are you ever gonna bring back some of those dance videos that you used to do in your living room?
I don't know, I think that phase is over and done with.
I think you should bring it back every once in a while. I think we
Uh,
should a flash in the pan type thing on your social. That'd be fun.
I would have to relearn, I forgot everything.
So music's one of your loves. What else does Mattie Rogers love besides weightlifting and
I like cats, I think that's very
yes, you
obvious.
love cats.
I
This is
do.
true.
Uh,
Let's talk about how many cats you have and also I feel like you're trying to bring another cat in that's a stray right now. Is this correct?
more or
Trying to
less.
foster another cat.
Yeah, so I have 3 cats, which 2 of them were mine and 1 was Sean's, so I can't take all the credit for all of those ones.
What are their
Um,
names?
So my first cat ever, his name is Lu, after the Chinese lifter Liu Xiaojun.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I have Piros, who I named after Piros Dimas, and then literally like 6 months later, Piros started working for USA Weightlifting. So now I have to see him all the time, knowing that I named my cat after him.
Did you
Um,
tell him that?
oh, he knows. I
Oh,
think
okay.
he hates it, but it's fine.
You're like, I didn't mean to know it'd be working with you.
Yeah, I had no idea. So those are mine. And then Sean has Killer, who is our sassy little black cat. Um, and then I have one that's outside that I'm trying to convince that the inside is a good place.
And how's that going?
Not great.
Not
He's
good.
he's mean. He's
I
not
feel like
nice.
you're making some headway though. Like he was coming back every night, for some food.
I thought so, but he's decided that he likes this porch across the street better than mine now. So I literally look out my window and he's sitting on their porch furniture, and I'll call him and be like, "Do you want some food?" And he'll just sit there and look at me until he decides that he wants to come over. So I think I've been replaced.
That's funny. So is there anything else that Mattie Rogers loves to do or
Um, I mean, I like school. Like, I know that's a weird thing to say, but I enjoy.
that's what I was looking for. I knew you loved school, so what is it that you love about school?
I mean, I like learning, as lame as that sounds.
No?
Especially because I can relate everything back to my sport. Um, I think that's really cool. I also This is like super off the rails and like this is my newest venture. I'm really interested in space as it relates to the body right now.
Mhm.
So like I'm pretty much done with my bachelor's for exercise science, and I was originally going to go right into PT school, but I've kind of changed that, and I'm going to start my master's probably in the fall. Um, and basically, my plan is to go to school until NASA eventually accepts me to help do research for like better exercise protocols for longer space flights. That's basically
Really?
that's the plan right now. So that could be like 25 more years of school until they're like, "All right, lady, like come on." But
See, you guys, Maddie never surprises me. Like when she says off the rails, like this is truly why I love her personality and who she is. Um, I never even knew this either. This is awesome. You want to be an astronaut? This is great.
well, I always wanted to be an astronaut, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. So maybe if I just stay in school for literally the rest of my life, they'll be like, "All right, you can be an honorary astronaut and go make sure these people are like exercising correctly."
Right. Um, so you're juggling school and weightlifting, trying to become the athlete. And you guys know it's a lot of you guys don't probably know this about Maddie, but like that's a lot to handle on a schedule. That much training sessions in school, and a lot of people don't look at these athletes that are just training full time that they actually do stuff like this. So, just wanted to applaud you, Maddie, for continuing your education. I always knew that was something that you loved. How do you juggle that, and how would you give advice to someone that's trying to be a competitive athlete and do school like you are?
Time management is most
Yeah.
important. I'm lucky enough to not have to have a second job on top of training, because training and competing is my job, which I know a lot of people aren't so lucky in that department. But I mean, you just kind of have to be okay with being busy all the time. Like I take my nighttime downtime very seriously, or like if I have a
Mhm.
free Sunday that I don't have to do anything, like I won't do anything. And I think those are like my reset days, and those are what get me through my busy weeks. Just having a few hours or even a whole day of not having to do anything.
Got it. Um, what did What advice would you give to a young girl starting out in weightlifting? that maybe inspired by you and looks up to you, what advice would you give that person?
I would say probably, I mean, it's uncomfortable at first. Like lifting is weird and hard, and it's like it's uncomfortable in ways that you're not really used to if you've never lifted before. Like the first time you feel something heavy, it's just weird. Like it does not feel normal at all. So I would say just like stick with it and get through that first just weird time of everything feeling wrong and just weird, and it gets better from there.
Awesome. Did you ever have inspiration growing up, or anyone you looked up to or currently look up to?
I mean, I remember growing up, I looked up to like all the Olympic gymnasts at that time, like Nastia Liukin, Carly Patterson. I think I named like my stuffed animals after them. Um, I mean, now I kind of like pick and choose like pieces of people that I like, so
Mhm.
there's not like an entire person I'm like, oh, I love them. I look up to them so much. But there's so many people that I'm like, I really like this about them and I like this about this person, and kind of like mix all that together into like my own imaginary like idol person.
Do you ever use anything like books or podcasts or anything inspirational of that sort to help you?
I have in the past. Currently,
Mhm.
no. I've read, I mean, there's one book that I read leading up to the 2016 Olympics called The Art of Mental Training that I think because I was so young and had never really learned or been exposed to any mental training at that point, it was like mind blowing for me to start like in my own training, like trying to implement the things that the book was saying. Um, and I mean, honestly, I probably still use things that I learned from that one book.
Yeah, I've actually read that book. You guys listening, that's a great book, The Art of Mental Training. That's a good one. Thanks for that, Maddie. All right, some fun questions
All
here.
right.
Actually, one more question. Do you have any rituals? Like, are you superstitious? I know you personally, and when you walk up to the bar, you have a set of things that you do. But are there are there any other things that like you have to eat the night before, or is there any rituals that you have?
So I used to back when I first started, and then like I have to wear the same underwear, the same shorts, same sports bra. I have to have a pair. I have to have these socks. Like everything had to be so perfect. And then my entire luggage got lost for a trip. And I was like, "Oh
Oh
my
man.
god, the world is ending, like, I can't go on." And then I was just fine. I was like, "Oh, this is stupid. Why stress myself out about having particular things?" So if anything, my ritual is to not have a ritual. Like, don't get attached to certain things because 99% of the time, it's not gonna go as planned. So you might as well just be ready for that.
All right, favorite food,
Steak.
favorite movie,
Favorite movie? Either Interstellar or Parasite.
Parasite. What is that about?
You haven't
I've
seen it
never.
yet?
No,
Oh my god,
never even heard of it.
it just won like a million Oscars. It's so good.
Well, that shows you how much time I spend watching TV.
Well, it's a foreign movie too, so you have to
Is
be
it?
okay with that, yeah. But it's
What's
worth it.
the synopsis of it?
So it's this family in South Korea. I don't even know how to explain it. Um, actually, no, I'm not gonna explain it. You have to watch it.
Okay, yeah, don't.
I'll
Okay,
ruin it.
all right. So it's a new movie.
Yeah, newer.
Okay, love it. I love movies, so
It's so
I'll
good.
definitely watch it. I also heard, I think that new movie 1917 is really good.
That also won a bajillion Oscars.
And then I
Not my
started
type of
watching.
movie.
Did it? God, I gotta
Nah.
catch up. And then I started watching Ford versus Ferrari,
I heard
and it started out to be really good. I just haven't finished it yet. I was tired. I went to bed. All right, if you had one superpower, what would it be?
Um, don't laugh.
No,
Um,
I love this. Come on, that's what I'm asking you.
I've already discussed this with so many people. It would be to be able to go into like a sporting event or a weightlifting event and know who's on steroids. Like they have like a little red dot on their forehead. So like you could look at someone and be like, oh, I know about you. And like especially like for weightlifting, which like drugs are just a huge issue. Like being able to
Yeah.
go to an event and be like, you cheaters, I know you. I know about you.
That's a superpower. That's funny. So actually, let's talk about that really quick. You get drug tested often. Like how often do you get drug tested?
A lot. I mean, every time I compete, obviously, and then random testing, probably anywhere from 10 to 15 times a year. I think last year I got tested a total of like 16 times.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, but I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. I'll pee in your cup anytime because I think it's really important, and I wish everyone were getting tested as much as I am.
Absolutely. And I asked that question just to show the importance of how often athletes like you are tested, to show how clean you are and that you are doing it the right way.
Yeah.
So what's next for Mattie Rogers? Competitions. What's next?
Go ahead.
Where can we find you?
I have Arnold in I think 3 weeks, a little more than 3 weeks. And that is my next like big one. It'll be my last qualification as an 87, which is exciting. I'm not done after that. I still have Pan Am's to go to, which is a few weeks later. But the Arnold is like kind of the most important one, more or less, for me, because it'll kind of seal everything. And then the Pan Am's after that will just be another opportunity to try and put up a big total.
Awesome. And then for social media, people that may not be following you, what's your handle on, Instagram? Are you on Twitter? Where can they find you?
I am on Instagram. My handle is my name with 5 S's after it. I really would love to change that, but I think it's too far gone at this point.
How did you get to that, by the way?
Because my name was taken and all variations of my name and like birthday were taken. And then that was like a random nickname from I think a cheerleading coach when I was like 15, and now I'm stuck with it.
You are stuck with it, but it's a good one.
Yes.
And yeah, you're easy to find. And are you on Twitter as well?
I am on Twitter. Follow at your own risk, I would say. Twitter's a lot more like the Wild West. But that's just Mattie-Rogers on there, I think.
Do you ever get on Facebook?
No.
Yeah. How about TikTok? Are you playing around in that world these days?
I tried not to because I don't want to spend any more time on my phone.
Agreed.
But Sean did get TikTok, and
I feel like you can put some of the dance moves on there or something.
I don't even want to put anything on there. I just want to watch what's on there.
Actually, I gotta tell you the story. I just started a TikTok account. I thought this was funny because I thought of you randomly because it was a cat, but it was like there's just one account that popped up right when I started my account, and it's this bald cat, and the owner would always give it raw chicken, but it would give him the raw chicken and would get really upset at it. So every video was that him showing a different variation of giving him the raw chicken. The cat would get so mad. It's hilarious. I'll have to find it, but
there's a ton of cat ones on there.
Yeah. TikTok's very interesting, but just wondering if you were on there. So, well, Mattie, hey, I appreciate you joining me. We here at Xendurance just want to thank you for your support and love that you've over the years. And for me personally, just can't wait to continue to watch you and support you on this road to Tokyo. Really appreciate you.
Well, thank you.